many Arizona teachers share their perspective as they deal with the different modes of learning, in-person, remote, and hybrid.
Plus, how an Arizona group is helping multi-generational households while children are being raised by their grandparents.
And later this half hour on Break It Down, how people of color are underrepresented in health professions.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Ivory Ward.
And I'm Stoda Meadows. Thank you for joining us. Our neighbor to the east is making changes to COVID-19 protocols that could have an impact here in Arizona. Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced yesterday that he'll be lifting nearly all of his state's COVID-19 restrictions. Business will be permitted to open at 100% capacity on March 10th. And starting today, there's no more statewide mask mandate. Joshua LeBaire, the executive director of the ASU Biodesign Institute, says this could be problematic for us due to the neighbor effect.
It's an odd time to be relaxing on mandates for wearing masks. If our neighbors are relaxing their conditions and there is an increased spread there, then that could certainly impact nearby. I don't know what the travel rates are between Arizona and Texas. I'm sure they're not zero. And so, obviously we have to be concerned.
Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves also signed an executive order to lift the mask mandate there and open businesses 100% beginning today. Meanwhile, Arizona is still hovering at over 1,000 COVID cases per day, and LeBaire thinks that this number may be underreported due to the fall in testing numbers. Right now, only about 7% of Arizona's population is completely vaccinated. We'll need 70 to 80% to be fully vaccinated in order to attain full herd immunity in our state. And LeBaire says only at that point should Arizona reopen at full capacity.
Governor Doug Ducey issued an executive order this afternoon calling for K through 12 schools to return to in-person learning by March 15th or after spring break. There are exceptions for counties with high COVID-19 transmission rates. GOP lawmakers are applauding this move, saying they're concerned about children falling behind. To combat this, some states are making summer school mandatory to help bring them back up to speed. Tina Giuliano talked with Arizona teachers and administrators about how they plan to do that. Tina?
Here in Arizona, the decision to mandate summer school is up to the individual school districts. Some districts like Scottsdale Unified will hold summer school like they always do, while Tucson Unified is holding summer school and adding targeted programs for certain grade levels. Some Arizona teachers and admins that I spoke with say students aren't falling behind because of a lack of proper instruction. This school year was just a lot different than others. Heidi Aranda from Tucson Unified says one of the main problems is a lot of the normal ways districts measure student progress have been compromised because of the pandemic.
So instead of it looking at it as a deficit or falling behind, everyone is, and for some students, remote learning is working great and they're accelerating at great rates through that. And for some students, that's just not their type of learning.
Aranda says while testing helps track a student's progress, the teacher's daily interactions can actually measure growth more accurately. She also emphasized the importance of targeting students who are transitioning between certain grade levels, like from middle school to high school. As you can see here, the Tucson Unified School District has a targeted academic support plan, which includes several steps and programs to help students get prepared for the next year. They've identified challenges, goals, and set up reading and math academies for the next couple of weeks and throughout the rest of the school year. They also have targeted social emotional programs that is one of the key, Ardana says, is one of the key main reasons why kids learn at a little bit different rates than others. At the Google touchscreen, Tina Giuliano, Cronkite News.
The pandemic certainly changed many things, especially education, and every teacher is experiencing something different. I sat down with 3 teachers from diverse backgrounds to hear their stories.
My day-to-day is trying to engage my students as best I can, despite the many barriers that come with this virtual learning environment. It's not easy, but what motivates me is to witness daily my students also working to overcome those barriers.
Elise Viesquez, an English teacher at Glendale High School, works every day to make virtual learning possible.
Biggest difficulty when it comes to teaching in person during this entire pandemic would have to be the balancing act. It's very much that, yes, I have students in person, but let's say that one of my students is somehow exposed to someone with COVID-19 in any type of degree. Obviously, we have to take the precautions, so then that student isn't allowed to come back to school until the COVID results are given.
Joshua Murray, an English teacher at a private school in Paradise Valley, has been in person since August.
I have tutoring daily so that kids who are struggling have an opportunity to speak with me one-on-one. They feel more comfortable talking to me versus like in a class setting where there's sometimes 40, 50 kids in a class.
Kathleen Gary, a teacher for Global Academy, virtually tutors students who may not be grasping lessons in their day-to-day classes. While teaching remotely reduces the spread of COVID-19, both Viesquez and Gary miss being with their students.
We are able to work together every day through, these online platforms, but it's never going to replicate that human connection in the school. And I miss my students.
I really miss, the reason why I went into teaching is because I really have a good rapport with people. And here I'm just talking to a computer all day and I don't have that interaction.
Murray and Viesquez hope to have more discussion about legislative issues and education.
Now we're starting to identify so many issues, infrastructure issues, and definitely legislative issues when it comes to education.
I tell my students all the time that there are two leading experts when it comes to what is happening in our schools. That first group are our educators, and that second group are our students.
Each teacher wants to bring something to the classroom after the pandemic. Joshua Murray started a YouTube channel dedicated to grammar. Kathleen Gary learned new teaching methods for face-to-face learning, and Elise Viesquez is encouraging her students to use their voices within the legislature.
Arizona health officials recently released a timeline for age-based COVID-19 vaccine prioritization. According to the timeline, the latest edition of 55 and older will continue to be vaccinated this month. In April, those in 45 through 54 age category will be eligible. Between April and May, those 35 through 44 will be eligible, and by May, 16 through 34 will be eligible. Once a local health department has vaccinated 55% of the current age category, or if less is demanded, they'll be allowed to move on to the next age category. It's been a sunny and warm day today. We can really see spring is right around the corner, and there's even some rain chances on the horizon. Let's go to Faith Abercrombie for more on that.
Now going straight ahead into our high temperatures here in Arizona, we're looking at about 83 degrees as our high for today, 63 in Payson, 83 in Casa Grande. But as we're looking ahead in tomorrow, take a look at Phoenix, making a difference about 10 degrees, about 70 degrees here in Phoenix, 68 in Scottsdale, and 69 in Tempe. So a little bit of chillier temperatures for tomorrow. But with those 70 degrees tomorrow, sunburn time is only about 45 minutes with our UV index around 5. So whether you're looking to catch some rays or taking a walk around the block, sunblock might not be a bad idea. Now looking ahead at our evening planner for tonight, around 6 p.m. it'll be about 21 mile-per-hour wind speeds, and as we go later into the night, these winds will hopefully start to calm down, maybe a little bit of precipitation in our evening. Now looking ahead at our 8-day forecast, we talked about the 70-degree temperature, but watch as these temperatures start to rise with 83 on Friday, 86 on Saturday, and sticking with these 80-degree temperatures for the rest of the weekend and the beginning of next week. We'll dip back down into the 70s and even 60s with 69 on Wednesday and 68 on Thursday. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Faith Abercrombie.
An analysis of new census data shows Arizona ranks 10th nationally for the fullest homes in America. Many of those homes are multi-generational. Cronkite News reporter Alexis Young shows us how, in many cases, children are being raised by their grandparents and what's being done to help them.
Among the children running around and people eating barbecue, grandparents are sharing tips and tricks for raising children again. The meal was organized by a Permanent Voice Foundation, started in 2018 by Dana Burns after a years-long custody battle for her daughter.
We were able to hire an attorney, and he was able to get me awarded permanent guardianship of her. And so permanent comes from the permanent guardianship, and a voice is about us.
The Arizona Department of Health and Human Services says there are nearly 200,000 kinship care households where relatives other than mom or dad are raising children. Much like herself, Burns' volunteers know what it's like to raise multiple generations of children.
And it helps with we learn different things, have different classes.
A permanent voice also helps with legal services and mental and physical well-being for age groups on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Why not help somebody else that I was once in their shoes, or my baby was once in their shoes, or these children that my grandparents are raising were once in those shoes.
Burns understands that time in the system or away from positive influences can sometimes be traumatic. Stuffed animals comforted Burns' daughter in her time of need, and now she ensures that other children are allowed that same comfort. In Phoenix, Alexis Young, Cronkite News.
As the need grows, Dana Burns says she's constantly applying for grants and looking for donations. She hopes to start a digital literacy program for grandparents in the future.
Hi, I'm Gareth Kwok. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report, including how J.J. Watt kept his big decision a secret for so long. So don't go away.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
Here we go, lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS. It's prime time on your time. Watch Prime Afternoons every weekday on Arizona PBS. Did you miss a show in the evening? Then catch up on Prime Afternoons, your favorite dramas.
No more bloody heroics.
Antiques Roadshow.
Really?
Nature and Nova.
It's time to reintroduce some wonder into this miracle of nature.
All of the best from PBS on Prime Afternoons. Weekdays starting at 1:30, only on Arizona PBS.
Ready to watch the best of PBS anytime, anywhere, on nearly any device? It's easy with the free PBS Video app. Simply download the PBS Video app on your mobile or streaming device. Now you can watch the latest PBS episodes or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and local content from your PBS station.
Welcome to today's Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Gareth Kwok. The Suns continue to set the league ablaze, winning their third straight game. This time, it was against the defending champion LA Lakers. The win moved the team to second place in the Western Conference, and small forward Mikal Bridges preached consistency after the game.
Not to relax, not to get too happy, not to get happy on the farm, like Coach says, and just come in every day and work, man. This is fun. This is our jobs, and we all love each other and we have fun. And
the win came despite the ejection of Devin Booker, who was also announced as the Western Conference Player of the Month for February. Booker averaged 27.9 points per game over the course of the month. Is anyone in the Valley over the news that J.J. Watt is going to be an Arizona Cardinal? We're certainly not. Part of what made his Twitter announcement so spectacular was how quiet he kept his free agency. Yesterday, Watt met with the media for the first time, proudly wearing new Cardinals gear. He revealed why he chose Arizona and what he went through to get the Cardinals t-shirt for his Twitter post without leaking the news too early.
But we were trying to keep this so quiet that I didn't trust whoever at the packaging facility would not see my name on the package and put two and two together. And so I had my brother's high school friend use his credit card and his address, and he shipped the shirts to his house. And then he brought them over to my house so that we could make this all happen. So the longer I looked at it, the more signs kept pointing back down here. You know, there's a lot of exciting things about what's happening down here in Arizona. I've always said in this league, you have to have a quarterback to have a chance, and there's a young, extremely talented quarterback here who can do big things and is going from year 2 to year 3 and can take an even bigger jump to continue to grow and progress and be even better.
He's the best boxer from Arizona and one of the best in the world. Phoenix's David Benavidez will make his return to the ring March 13th against Ronald Ellis. Cronkite News reporter Harrison Klopp caught up with Benavidez to see what fans can expect from the 24-year-old now and going forward.
A two-time world champion, he's considered Arizona's best boxer.
Vicious body punches from Benavidez.
And on March 13th, for the first time since he lost his title on the scale last August, David Benavidez will take on hungry journeyman Ronald Ellis. And while Benavidez expects this fight to be tough, he sees it as a stepping stone to bigger things.
And what I'm looking for is not just this fight. Is if I put the right performance in and I look as good as I think I'm going to look, I think I could get a big fight after. So
the biggest fight Benavidez could make is with the world champion. Right now, there are 3 of them in his division and 1 potentially moving up. But Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders have already agreed to a fight in May, leaving Caleb Plant and Jamal Charlo, and a fight with either of them is exactly what David Benavidez wants next.
If everything goes right, I could maybe get in there a fight with Caleb Plant, or I heard Jamal Charlo's coming up from 160 to 168, so I feel like Jamal Charlo would be an amazing fight.
And while Benavidez is hungry to be a champion once again, he hopes 2021 can be his knockout punch. In Phoenix, Harrison Klopp, Cronkite News.
Finally, a judge ruled today in the case involving University of Arizona basketball. The court ordered the State Board of Regents to let the public see the list of NCAA allegations against the program. The lawsuit was filed by ESPN. That's all for today's Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Gareth Kwok. Back to you, Sedona and Ivory.
Thanks, Gareth. That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.